Hey everyone, what's up? So today I want to check out a brand new gameplay trailer that just came out for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And I'm actually really excited for this. When we got the first trailer out of E3, there was a lot of mixed feedback. A lot of people saying it looks like super linear, it feels like a Star Wars skin on an Uncharted game. There was a lot of feedback about how the combat didn't look too good, how there's no dismemberment, you know. There's a lot of gripes from what we initially saw from Star Wars. But even with all of that stuff being true, I'm still kind of excited for the game. Like, I'm happy at this idea of a single player romp through Star Wars, and the gameplay looked pretty cool. You know, combat wasn't blowing my mind, but whatever. Now, after that first feedback, there was also a bunch of articles that came out that kind of gave some more info about the game. They were specifically talking about this kind of hybrid with this action combat, with this intricate level design. They referenced Dark Souls a lot, but then also Metroid games where you have these locked off areas and you got to go places to get keys to access those areas and new abilities. They talked about how the game was going to be open in the sense that you have a ship and you can pick which planet you go to in what order. The more I learned about the game, the more interesting it sounded. So I'm super happy that there's a new gameplay trailer out, and I just kind of wanted to check it out and give my impressions with it. So let's see. We've got the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order official gameplay demo extended cut. Let's give it a look and see if the new Star Wars game looks any better than people originally thought. They're going straight into cinematics. I wish they kind of showed the ship stuff where you get to pick a planet. Yeah, I think that's a cool feature that a lot of people would like, but...
Ready to do this?
I don't know. This looks cool so far. I know that I'd swim so close to this thing for fear of getting stomped on, but I don't have force powers, or do I? All right, so here's the Uncharted references that we keep seeing. Guys climbing up some vines. You know, so many games do stuff like this nowadays. And so many games did stuff like this prior to Uncharted. All right, guys looking in the opposite direction. Oh, good. He got zapped, perfect.
It's the Jedi!
So we got a block and that looks like a block light attack. We got a throw attack. Now there's two bars there. I believe there's a health bar and a block or stamina bar for the enemies. I was hearing that you had to work through their defenses before you could connect or something like that. Oh, our buddy's gonna distract them. They're wearing helmets! How does that do anything?
What's happening over there? You're in violation of Imperial Protocol. Shut that guy up. 07. Stand down or we won't...
That's funny. The dude, I like his sidekick a lot. It's super cute.
That's the blasters. Whoops.
So it looks like this would be something you'd actually be controlling. This doesn't look like just a cinematic. You'll be pushing the right bumper and trigger or something like that.
Hey! Who are you?
Someone who just brought an AT-AT to the table.
They're not called AT-ATs. I've been doing it wrong all along. They're making this big bombastic event, but it's an on-rails experience. And some people just really don't like that, but I think there's a place for it. You know, not every game has to be big open world, do everything, go everywhere. Watching stuff like this, one big question I think for people is gonna be the difficulty. I really hope they got some good difficulty options. We're going into the ship. Okay, cool. So again, what I heard was with this ship, we can pick where we go in the world, the different planets and what order, and they're showing it. They're showing it. Fucking right. Good job. This is what we want to see.
Your plan worked. And now you want to follow Saw?
A little bit of dialogue, probably not much. A couple options like they show is what I would expect. I wish they showed a little more of the ship, but... So there's that little holographic map and it shows you different points of interest. We're getting a good look at combat here with an extended fight. This has been one of the biggest complaints that people have had. It seems like fairly bare bones action combat. I can assume there's gonna be blocking, parrying, light attack, heavy attack, and specialty moves. Probably combos if you go light, heavy, or if you parry into a light attack, you know, stuff like that.
Well, with this transformer, I bet you can short-circuit Imperial tech.
So, this is a workbench and he just got an update, probably just be a means to bypass locked doors, and that's what they were talking about a lot with this game, where you'll get skills that let you access otherwise inaccessible locations. And I think that's just a one-to-one example. He got the tech, allowed us to interact with that panel, which let us slide across to this area. This is where the last trailer started. It was this section. But this is a different playthrough, clearly, because they didn't fight the bugs last time. Now let's see how much different the rest of the playthrough is, or if it's an identical experience. I'm super intrigued. I really hope that they showcase different ways to do it. Oh, meditation, meditation! This is the Dark Souls mechanic. This is bonfire. You meditate, you could do your skills. What I read in an interview is doing this also resets all of the enemies on the map. It's too bad they didn't show us this, like, him interacting with the skill tree, but it's cool to actually see that in action. All right, so here's the combat. These are like, you know, the stormtroopers are like the grunts of enemies. So I don't imagine combat will ever be too difficult against them. You know, it'd be nice if there's a higher difficulty where you don't just keep one-shotting them. But at the same time, isn't the Star Wars lore like they are just the most inept? They die super easy. Now, these guys are different. They've got their little maces, their little shock maces. And I believe that they can use that to block the lightsabers, yeah. Still, though, easily dispatched. I wish that they showed this on the higher difficulty, where those guys didn't just get one shot. All right, now this is the real fight, though. These guys right here, they seem to equate to mini bosses in a sense. It's a bit more... So see, we've got to work through that white bar before you can actually hit, you see? And then we gotta hit, and the white bar resets. So that's what I was reading about. And again, it's really hard to discern exactly what we're looking at. You can kind of guess the light attack, heavy attacks, the blocks and the parries, and there's like a finisher move or whatever. And, you know, tons of people are pissed that in that example that guy wasn't sliced in half and split apart on the ground, but that doesn't bother me terribly much, like, if I'm not seeing the body parts severed. I know that's been part of games like this in the past, especially with the lightsaber fantasy and all that, but, like, if their limbs aren't falling off, I don't care that much. So far, the path that they've taken has been identical to what they did in the last gameplay demo. They haven't diverged at all. It's just they've done some things differently, like interacting with different things, and the combat has been a little bit different. But outside of that, the path has been identical. I really hope they show different ways to go through the path. I mean, I think I get people's complaints looking at the combat. It looks so simple. I guess my only hope is that that is just down to the difficulty. Like that this is played on normal or easy for the demo, and that on harder difficulties it requires a bit more finesse and everything. It's an EA Star Wars game. They're clearly gonna cater to a wide audience. They're gonna have easier modes. I guess the hope is that the harder modes are an actual challenge, and that's just guessing at this point. Oh, here's the meditation point. All right, so please, can you use it? And pick a skill? Damn it. Damn it. Just do a glimpse of the skill tree and show me different potential abilities that we can unlock, you know? So yeah, whenever we get this extended combat against these enemy types, it looks engaging and fun because you're not just mowing people down. So I guess the hope is that there is a lot of this as the game progresses, or as you ramp up the difficulty. There's a little self-heal from your little robot buddy. All right, this was the end of the last demo, so I'm assuming we're coming up on the end here. This appears to be some sort of a proper challenging enemy, even more so than those other guys we saw earlier. But yeah, this is it. Then it's just a cut to this. Well, I think it's pretty cool. I think there's still a lot of questions, especially when it comes to the difficulty of the combat. I really wish that it doesn't look like they played this on any harder difficulty than what the last demo was on. Once they got to where the last demo video picked up, I really wish they showed some of that divergent path stuff, because we know it's in the game. We know there are different sections that are locked off that you have to gain access to. I'm assuming that in this particular section, this is like, you gotta go through this one part first, and then you get the skills to go back through the different sections and fight the new bosses and see the new areas and unlock the new skills and all that stuff. I'm assuming that's the case, but I'm happy they showed the meditation. It would have been nice if they showed how it worked, like if they fought some enemies, killed them, meditated, and then went back and those enemies were there, because that is supposed to be how it works. And I wish they showed more of the skill tree, and I wish they showed more challenging combat. I am still excited at the potential of this game, but I think there's still quite a few question marks that are really gonna lend to like if this game has a lot of depth and longevity. Combat needs to be challenging. You can't just one-shot 99% of the enemies that you see. And I know that does play into the Star Wars fantasy of the stormtroopers being totally inept and just fodder, basically. But when it comes to interesting gameplay, you just need more challenging enemies. So hopefully there's like a high population of those enemies that require several defense breakthroughs before you can hit them, and that have some interesting combat, and that they actually hit you and endanger you, because at no point did they really show the player in any sort of danger. You know, there's a lot of hate around EA, and rightfully so. A lot of the bad business practices, releasing buggy or unfinished products with like predatory microtransactions. I just want to play some fun games, and I think this looks like a game that I could enjoy. You know, I'm not sitting here saying pre-order this thing. Don't pre-order, just don't. But I'm saying I want to learn more. I want to see more gameplay. I want to try this thing out myself. The graphics of this game and the potential, if the combat is difficult enough with an action combat Metroid / Dark Souls style Star Wars game, that's a combination that I think I could really get behind and really dig. So keeping my fingers crossed. I think we still got a bunch of questions, but I don't hate it, and I'm happy that they showed some more stuff. I'm happy they showed the planets and the meditation and all that stuff, but there's still a lot more that I want to see, and hopefully they deliver. I don't know. There it is, the new gameplay for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Keeping my fingers crossed for this game. I'm gonna say cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. That's a good way to put it. That's what everyone says, but I don't say this about every game. Just the games that I'm cautiously optimistic about.